Hi, my name's Nicole, and I'm a fake fan.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, my name's Calvin, and I am a fake fan.
Hi, Calvin.
Hi, my name is Triston. I'm a fake fan. The only movies that I've ever seen in my life as a filmmaker, as a boy, as an Italian child, were the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy.
Hi, Triston.
Can I just say pizza time?
Oh, pizza sounds good right now.
Yo, Calvin, get us pizza.
Today, we watched Charlie Chaplin's classic, City Lights, year 1931. This is heralded as Charlie Chaplin's greatest film.
Is it?
Is it, Tristan?
Between this or maybe The Great Dictator. I don't know. All of his films are, I don't know. Everybody's got a different one. I know the four big ones are this, Modern Times, Gold Rush, and then The Great Dictator. And then The Kid, but I think The Kid's the short film.
The Kid is short, but I actually love The Kid a bit more.
I've never seen that one. I'll get to that. You just keep doing your thing.
So let's start by going around and seeing who is the fake fan this week. Nicole, are you a fake fan?
I wouldn't say I'm a fake fan of Charlie Chaplin just because I'm not like,
You've never had to lie about it?
I've never lied because I just like haven't. But I guess I'm a fake fan of classic movies, and this is a start.
I'm a fake fan. You could do a Google search image of Charlie Chaplin. You'll get that picture of him with his fingers on his teeth, like being all shy boy. And, you know, this is one of his most iconic roles, and I have not seen this one. So I would say I'm a fake fan of this one, too. Tristan, are you a fake fan?
For the first time in months, yes, I am a fake fan. You guys messaged me after we did the Indiana Jones and the Star Wars ones, and Calvin said, you know, Tristan's really underrepresented on this. And you know what? I'm such a Charlie Chaplin fan, and I've only seen, well, today marks 3 movies that I've seen by him. I share a birthday with the man. I always talk about like, oh yeah, I love Charlie Chaplin. What an icon. I've only seen 2 of his movies. Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm a fake fan, and this is the first time that like I'll be like, yeah, I'm really a fake fan of this movie.
Which movies did you see?
I've seen The Gold Rush, and I've seen The Great Dictator, and that I've seen maybe 1 or 2 of his short like 20-minute films, but Gold Rush and The Great Dictator are the only ones I've seen.
Awesome. Well, it's good to finally have Tristan back on the show, really.
Yo, I played Charlie Chaplin in a musical in high school.
Oh, yeah.
I have a life-size Charlie Chaplin cardboard cutout in my room.
Don't you also have like a box set of his movies or something like that?
I do. I have them on VHS and DVD. And then Mr. Avery, when I played Charlie Chaplin, gave me these really cool Charlie Chaplin posters for my room also. And I've only seen 2 of... I've now seen 3 of his movies. I'm a piece of shit.
Well, that's why we're here for you, Tristan.
I had that same vibe though with Lauren Bacall. I have like a box set of Bogey and Bacall, and I've only seen 1 in high school.
Only 1?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which one did you see?
Have not.
Oh.
I've seen The Big Sleep.
I think I started one, but then I get like the black and white movie Sleep, and
Yeah, The Big Sleep was really
and I
boring.
go night.
Well, let's first describe the film. Describe the film for the audience here.
Okay, so this movie follows Charlie Chaplin's classic tramp character in the big city, and he meets a drunk millionaire who wants to be his best friend, but only when he's drunk, because when he's sober, he doesn't remember Charlie at all. Charlie also meets this blind girl that sells flowers, and he becomes smitten with her, and she comes under financial troubles, she needs help, and she thinks that Charlie Chaplin is rich, because she can't see him, and she's under the impression, based on the sounds that she hears and things like that, that he is rich. So he has to find a way to help her out of her financial problems. And then it does involve the rich guy. If he remembers Charlie or not, we'll see. And yeah, hijinks ensues. And it's a very, very sweet love story.
That ending was really, really special. Don't you think, Nicole?
We were all like this close to crying. I looked at you guys looked at me. We were close.
Like, don't look at me.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
If I see other people cry, I cry. So I was like, don't look at me.
We should just start one of the playlists for the podcast called Don't Look at Me.
Don't look at me. I'm serious. Like, that ending was probably one of the sweetest scenes I've ever seen in my life.
That's so sweet. Now she can see.
It is incredible.
Tristan, you're the big fake fan this week.
Yes. It's been a long time since I've seen The Gold Rush. I've seen it twice. I've seen it once in high school, once in college. And then I've seen The Great Dictator maybe 2 or 3 times.
And The Great Dictator is like a sound movie, too.
Yeah, The Great Dictator is a talkie that makes fun of Hitler, and I love it. I would say either The Great Dictator or City Lights might be my favorite. City Lights is really high up there because I just finished watching it 5 minutes ago. I don't know. They both have, like, I feel like The Great Dictator's leans more into, like, themes and stuff, whereas City Lights is more of a character feeling piece. So I think they both hit really high marks for me, but for different reasons. And The Gold Rush, I'm just putting at third because it's been a while. But I remember I really enjoyed that one, too.
Thinking about Great Dictator, that one also includes Charlie Chaplin playing a character who is thrown into a different role because of how he's mistaken. It's kind of funny that he uses that kind of trope to kind of put a character into new spaces.
I was thinking that, too. It's funny because Great Dictator is like The Prince and the Pauper if the prince was Hitler.
Oh no.
Nicole, what did you think about this movie?
I thought it was pretty good. I like the little storylines in it, just how the guy would only want to be his friend when he was drunk and like give him a bunch of money in his car, and I thought that was pretty funny. And
Well, have you watched many other Charlie Chaplin movies?
no, I think I've seen The Gold Rush a long time ago, but all I remember is the scene where he eats the boot. Like, but I think that's probably because I've seen it in other places.
Yeah.
It's the boot and the scene when he
Yeah.
dances with the rolls. Those are the scenes that stand out.
Yeah.
What do you think about these like silent movies now that we just had you watch 2 of them? Because you like colorful movies with big musicals and such like that. Like, what do you think about silent movies?
I like them. I guess I feel like I would need them to be comedy. I've tried watching like Rudolph Valentino because I think he's very attractive. And I love like his like crazy story of like how he died and stuff. So I wanted to watch some of that, but they're a little bit boring because it's like dramas or like romantic dramas, and they can just be awfully slow.
Yeah, it gets tough to tell a dramatic story without comedy through silent movies because it's like oh, I know that they're in love, and now they're just gonna like move their hands around and tell me how much in love they are.
Yeah.
Whereas with the comedy, like you can watch them flail around and have like what do you call it? Body comedy, physical comedy, slapstick comedy. Yeah, that stuff works in the silent world. Whereas like having 2 people in love just pantomiming with like piano music playing over them, it kind of gets boring. I get that.
Silent dramas would be better if they were dubbed by kazoo voices.
Those took me out.
And that happens right in the beginning of the movie, doesn't it?
Yeah, like
these
just
kazoo sounds over there, people talking.
I love it. And then the part when the national anthem plays and they all stop and they're
Oh
just
my
like, respect the flag.
Oh my god.
Not to hate too much on silent dramas. I've seen a few good ones, but yeah, I could definitely understand why they a little tough to get through if you're not willing to sit down for that kind of
And
stuff.
you just don't have like that pacing in your brain that I feel like we've talked about a couple times, where it's like you're sitting down and watching a story. Like that's what you have to remember, especially with old movies. Is like you're sitting down and watching a story. Like people probably took this from either oral tradition or reading something else, and they're putting it to an image. And a lot of times I feel like if you were to take basic drama books and think about them, they're probably a little bit boring if you're not used to it. So to me, that's what it is. Like you're watching a story in picture mode.
Like City Lights came out 90 years ago.
Yeah, 90 years ago this year.
This movie particularly comes from like a cultural mindset almost a century old. So it's like, wow, you have to really approach it a little bit differently. But what did you guys like about this movie?
Well, I can't say monkey this time. I mentioned in our last episode how some of the random bits that they do, like Buster Keaton in the Yankee Stadium, I was like, oh, I'm not really into it. I don't know what it is about Charlie Chaplin movies, but I didn't mind any, like the boxing scene. I thought was one of the funniest scenes in the movie. I liked him as the sanitation when the horses walk by and he's like, well, fuck that. And just turns around. Hilarious. I don't know. There's something about him. He's very obviously charismatic. He was like one of, even to this day, he's still iconic. You look at that mustache and you think of two people. Hopefully you think of Charlie before you think of the other one.
No.
I don't know. There's just something about him.
You know, I think it's because Buster has a deadpan look.
Yeah.
He's like straight faced. And that's his humor is like especially with the Yankee Stadium thing. It's like, oh, he's making fun of how baseballers are, and he's very deadpanned about it. Whereas Charlie is not deadpan. Charlie's like he's very expressive. His physical comedy is just totally different. I think that might be part of it. On top of it, I think the boxing scene has more story sense because in The Cameraman, Buster Keaton going to Yankee Stadium doesn't have much larger story payoff. It's just like a bit. Whereas like going boxing because he needs the money and, you know, he's fighting to get the money because he needs enough to pay for the $22 for rent at least. And so there's a kind of story, drama, reasoning behind it. So it makes more sense.
Yeah. I felt like all the scenes and all the bits really meshed together for the cohesive story. It didn't feel like anything was out of place in this.
Nicole, what do you like about the movie?
I feel like I kind of said it like with the smaller storylines in it, but I guess I liked the little love story. I mean, that is kind of like that's like the main story, but
it's like really fulfilling too.
Yeah, like it's very satisfying at the end.
It's just a sweet movie.
I like the fact that like obviously he didn't want to rob his rich friend, but he does, and then he goes and like he doesn't turn himself in, but he like accepts that he's going to go to prison for a bit. I think that's very admirable of his character. And I feel like that's who the tramp is. It's like he's not like a hero because he wants to be. He's not Iron Man, but he's somebody who won't. He's good. He's like good-hearted.
He's the tramp with a heart of gold.
This is my Marvel brain going off again, okay? So Charlie Chaplin is like that cultural icon at the time, and the way that his character is revealed, because he's been doing movies as his character for like 20 years now, just reminds me of like an Indiana Jones reveal. It's like the funny like, oh, we're unveiling a statue. Bloop, there's Charlie sleeping on the statue. It reminds me a lot of like something that would be an Indiana Jones type reveal. It's very random, but that's just what I thought of when I saw the movie.
Like, oh, there he is, as we know him.
Everybody claps and you hear bum bum ba-da.
Oh my god.
Yeah, for context, for some people who might not know, Charlie Chaplin creates this character of the tramp that shows up in all of his movies, really. Yeah, it's just really fascinating to see how he plays that character in new roles. Like in The Kid, you know, he's in like the workhouses of London, and in this one he's like in New York City, and it's just, and then in Gold Rush he's in
like the Arctic or something. He's in some
Alaska.
cold place. Yeah. I think if you want to get into silent films, Chaplin or Buster Keaton are great. Comedies are great places to start. Because like we said, dramas can be slow. And I feel like if I started by watching a dramatic silent film, I'd be turned off instantly. I'd be like, put on Iron Man instead. Oh. So like, start with Chaplin, start with Keaton, start with something that will make you laugh and make you feel good.
And they're probably the most accessible because they're the ones that historians have actually tried to archive their films. Some of the other ones that might have existed in time are gone now because people didn't try to preserve them, and didn't have.
It would be kind of boring. Cough, cough, Valentino. Cough, cough. It's so hard to find his movies.
Can you imagine starting with like Birth of a Nation, like a 3-hour silent war film?
Whoa.
Like even the first silent film I think I ever saw was what's the one that they show in like every film school where the cowboy shoots at the camera?
Oh.
The Great Train Robbery.
That's the one. Like even that one is fine to start with because it's like 10 minutes. But if you start with like Intolerance or The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, it's like, oh my gosh, this movie's 3 hours and no one's talking. But at least Chaplin makes you feel good, makes you laugh, you know. So.
And in 90 minutes. Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
Tristan, you want to give us our send-off?
Well, I'm going to do this like a silent film.
Oh, kazoo! Calvin, can you insert kazoo voice?
We got thanks for coming to this meeting. We got some fried boot in the back, and if you want to eat the confetti streamers off the walls, do it. No one's gonna stop you. Thanks.
Some fried boot in the back.